I'm Jon Snow. Jon Snow. We have to go north of the wall to see the top 5 series finales.
Hello, everyone. All millions of you out there. Welcome back to High5, where we discuss and pick our top 5 picks from a wide variety of topics. This episode is in Sawyer's wheelhouse here, not so much mine.
Yeah,
I'm more of the movie and you're more of the TV.
Yeah, because I used to be really heavy into movies when I was younger, and then I discovered television, and I was like, so it's like a really long movie that's kind of well budgeted that just keeps going on?
Yeah.
Sign me the fuck up.
And I think there's definitely a... oh, by the way, it's top 5 season... series finales.
Series finales, yeah.
I think...
We should do season finales at some point, too.
I think this is a difference in mentality here.
Yeah.
I think you're a long form fan versus I am more of like,
let's get it done.
I gotta go. I need to absorb other things. I got stuff to watch and I can't donate that much time to this whole thing. And I think I don't know if I'd say tired or burnt out or something with a lot of TV shows where for the most part I'll start watching them and I'll get like 2-3 seasons into it and then you
just drop off, and
then I'll come back eventually, but it's like I can't really remember everything.
I have done that before where I'll like with Vampire Diaries, for instance. I watched till like season 3.5, and it's not that anything bad happened in that season that made me want to step away. That was actually one of the best seasons in that show. I just fell out of it and didn't hop back into it till like season 7, and it was just freaking phenomenal.
And that's why this list particularly was kind of hard for me, because I realized
I figured it would be, because I don't think you finish.
I have it's a problem with a lot of things in my life where I have so many different things that I want to experience and play and watch that I can't finish them all the way through. So like the easiest thing I can compare this to is TV shows and like open world games.
Yeah.
Like I'll get a decent chunk into them, but like I have like
there's a lot of open world games I've seen 7% of. You know. Yeah.
And if you ask Tom, I'm notorious for never completing a video game. Yeah. Like when I do finish one, he's like, "Holy shit, you finished one!"
Right. I was notorious for that for a minute. Like Far Cry 4, I played like 80% through it, didn't finish it for another 6 months.
Far Cry is it's a continual problem with them of starting out really strong and petering out.
Yeah, it's just something with them.
So why don't you kick us off with your first entry into greatest series finales?
I do want to say that this list was a little hard for me because a lot of the shows I watched, they're just not over yet. They just haven't finished. So I want to start off with I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to cheat. This is the one I'm going to cheat on. So The Walking Dead, right?
Okay.
Gone on for 9 friggin' seasons. Okay. Unpopular opinion, I like season 7 a lot, and I enjoyed season 8. I liked the action and the war. Like it was war, you know, and it, like the first half of that season was good, but the second half much superior. Like that's, you know,
I didn't watch it.
I know you didn't. But
is this after season 2? Because I think I stopped at season 2.
How do you freaking stop at season 2? You at least have to get to Negan. That's what you're waiting for. That's what every freaking comic fan was waiting for, was a Negan, and they showed up and used almost every word for word from the comics when he showed up. Incredible. So good. This is so good, Murph, let me tell you.
So why don't you go ahead and explain how you're cheating on this? Because
it's in the stars, Murph.
I believe that this episode...
Murph, it's in the stars.
This series has not ended yet. I don't know what you're doing right now.
Interstellar.
I haven't seen that one.
What the fuck? Yeah. All right. Anyways, so okay. So Rick Grimes was my favorite character, right?
Yeah, main character, right?
Main character wouldn't call
curly haired, looks nothing like he does in the comics,
but still way more badass.
Maybe.
Hey, just to let you know, Kirkman regretted taking his hand. Season 9 episode. Did you know that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Robert Kirkman regretted taking his hand off in the comics.
I don't know. This is all going over my head. Is Robert Kirkman the creator?
So, anyways, season 9, episode 5. Season 5, episode 9. What comes after? This is where I kind of ended I ended with The Walking Dead. This was
is your finale.
My personal ending. Yes. So, Rick Grimes. I'll just let you know what happened. So Rick Grimes, right? They're building this bridge, and this is like a year and a half after the war. And Rick is trying to build this kind of new world, and he's kind of just like, because Carl dies, and he's like, Carl kind of instilled this legacy that we just got to let shit go and fucking work together. It's us versus the dead, not us versus us, and then there's the fucking dead, right? So he's trying to keep that vision for Carl alive because Carl has died. But he's struggling to keep that vision alive because everyone's got personal beef with the Saviors for personal reasons we won't get into. So they're trying to build this bridge to this highway that will help them traverse the place that they're in a lot better, right?
What's the name of this town that he's trying to establish?
So he's not trying to establish a town. He's just trying to keep everyone's connections on par with each other. So there's Alexandria, there's the Hilltop, there's...
I feel like he should have made a city dedicated to Carl.
Well...
Carlandia. Or I guess Carlsbad.
Carlsbad. So he gets... Long story short, there's this giant horde coming. And he's on a horse, right? And fuck this horse, by the way.
Is this not the same horse from the first episode?
It is not. No, it got eaten. Long dead, son. But anyway, he's riding around on this horse, and there's this horde that he's kind of leading on top of the horse, and it's gotten spooked a couple times, and he's almost fallen off once or twice. And then he's riding along, and he's looking behind him like this. If I remember right, he's looking behind him like this, and he comes up on a four-way with a bunch of... I can't explain why there would be a bunch of concrete and rebar there, but there is, And
does he get jolted?
Yes, he does. Yep.
Bummer.
Yeah, he gets... So, this is episode 4, right? He comes up... And the fucking horse gets caught off guard because there's a four-way, right? So here's the concrete, here's the horde behind him, and then there's a horde here that he didn't see because there's a bunch of trees until he got around that tree line. And then it spooked him and he fell off and he gets impaled right through here. Real good, And he's fucking sitting there and he fucking shouts really loud, and then he looks at the horde and then he passes out. Cut fucking credits. Motherfuckers.
And he's dead. You just don't ever see him again.
No,
right?
Yeah, he gets eaten, and that's how it ends.
You physically see him be eaten, though?
Yeah,
okay.
Just guts. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's not how it goes at all. So anyway, sorry, I'll try and hurry this up. So next episode, right? He pulls himself off the rebar, he fucking takes something that he goes like that to pull himself off of it, and then he gets on the horse, and the entire time he's riding and hallucinating, and he falls off his horse again because he passes out.
Yep.
And his whole goal is to try and lead this horde away from the group because it's a really big horde. And he even passes out in this house for a bit, and then he sees people from past episodes that are dead and stuff, and they're kind of telling him that they'll be fine without you, they're gonna be stronger without you, it's okay to give up, kind of deal. Right?
I don't think I agree with their thoughts.
Yeah, I don't either. But they're the entire time he's talking about looking for his family because it's his family to him now by this point. And so he leads the horde to this bridge they've been building, and for some reason there just so happens to be gas cans and TNT and shit. There just so happens to be explosives. It's a fucking TV show. And
are they red barrels?
They're red colored.
Nice.
Yep. And he walks across the bridge, and he's really messed up at this point. And the group shows up, and they're down in this valley, and they can't get to him because they're he's on this side of the bridge, and they've popped up over here, and then there's a horde coming this way. So he's Alexandrians, everybody, Daryl, Michonne, and he's sitting there, right, and he's shooting a couple of the zombies with his big old Python 6-shooter, And then he sees the barrel. He sees, like, the explosives. And he's like, I got this really cool picture on my laptop as my screensaver, but he's like, I found them. Like, he found his family. And then he fucking blows up the bridge. And you're like... And it looks like it engulfed him, which it would have. Mm. And I got really fucking pissed. Because I was like, he fucking blows himself up? Fuck this. I fucking shut it off. And then I came back and finished it. The motherfucker lived. He lives. He falls into the river. Yeah, physics be damned. He falls into the river. And then this one character finds him, and she's been communicating with this group that has helicopters and shit. And they take off into the sunset. And then it ends. That's where Rick does not die. He leaves the show. And now it's been confirmed he's going to be doing 3 Rick Grimes movies.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds like it sucks, though.
What?
3 Rick Grimes movies. Because if he's off on his own now.
One of them.
Yeah, but if he's off on his own now, like, you won't see any, like...
I don't need those fucking people anymore.
But you don't want the best character, Daryl?
Fuck Daryl.
I like that actor a lot, though.
I do like Norman Reedus, but no, Daryl is not the coolest character. I'd rather have him as Shone over Daryl.
So, here's where I'm at with my list.
Sorry that took so long. It's probably half the video.
I had such a hard time picking that my number 5 entry I don't even like that much.
Right? That was another thing, too, we talked about. It's like the series finales really weren't that great themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went with Sons of Anarchy.
I totally forgot about that movie. Yeah. And, it's one of those that's not fantastic.
It was kind of bittersweet, which was nice.
It's good. It was good, but it wasn't amazing.
I think it was more so, like... I was just happy it was over.
Yes.
Because things in the last 2 seasons...
of watching everybody die.
Exactly. Especially, like, the betrayals that are going on in the last season.
And, like, everything with
what's
Juice.
Going on. And Gemma and Tara and, like, all those things.
Tara and Gemma was hard to watch.
To just finally see him, like go out on the bike right into... They should have played Freebird. But
free as a bird.
It was a nice, like, wrap to the series because it all starts with him reading John's book
journal,
and he got hit by a truck,
but it was theorized that he may have been sabotaged.
It comes out that he was sabotaged, and Clay did do it on purpose.
Okay, damn.
But, like,
fuck Clay.
Just the book ending of it coming back around to that, and then they kind of got, like, sappy with the metaphors because there's, like,
that weird
the piece of bread there and, like, the blood or whatever, and
shit.
Like she's Jesus or whatever,
the angel of death or something weird.
But I mean, for a show that I think needed to end maybe a season or 2 before that, it was just nice to have it and to know, like, okay, that's it. It's done.
Yeah, there's no way to continue this on.
They want to do like a spin-off series or a prequel.
They already are. The 2 seasons in.
Are they?
The Mayans, yeah.
Oh, shit.
I have zero interest in watching it.
No, not at all, because it doesn't got my boy Chibs in it. That was my only thing that kept me going was Chibs was still there, and it's like...
Chibs and Tig, baby. Chibs and Tig.
Oh, Tig, dude. He is such a fucking character.
Yeah, such a very complex character,
depending on what season it is, it's like you're rooting for him or you want him to fucking die.
Yeah.
And you understand his motives the entire time. Like, that's the thing that show is really good about was, like, there will be scumbags, but it's like you understand why he's being a scumbag, and it's a misunderstanding, and it's like killing Donna, and then, like, oh fuck, now he feels bad about it, and now finally Opie's dead, and, like, he's had this character arc, and it's mentally broken him, and he's fucking a transvestite. It's like, what is happening?
He says in one of the earlier seasons he's down with screwing dead bodies.
That's true. And they burn his daughter. Anyway,
they burned his daughter in front of him.
We're getting away from the finale, but, like, I think that's the only reason why I somewhat like the finale is all the stuff that came before it. Because the finale on its own is whatever.
Yeah.
It was, like, the weakest of the ones I picked here. And even some of the other ones I kind of cheat on a little bit. But just the finality of it. Because I think that's a problem I have with certain series finales is they leave it too open. It's like, oh man, what could happen next? I wish we could find out, right?
Yeah.
But this one, it's like, at this point, pretty much everyone's dead, so it's over.
Yeah, so it's pretty much good and said and done.
Yeah. What's your next pick?
My next pick, very unpopular opinion, Lost.
See,
here's why. Here's my defense with Lost. Okay, So in season 5, they
You
dropped.
can go ahead and tell it to that because I never saw it, so this means nothing to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
J.J. Abrams. We just talked about this.
Okay. Get over
Guy
it.
doesn't know how to end a story.
Whatever. So in season 5, the bomb drops, right? If you're familiar with Lost, they drop this big bomb, white flash, and you're like, oh, huge cliffhanger. So what people seem to not understand is because of the weird crap that was all happening before that is when the bomb dropped, right? It split reality into two. Yeah, it created this because they, instead of doing, the usual flashbacks, and then there was that really incredible season where they did flash forwards and it all met up at the end, it kind of created this split alternate reality where they never crashed, right? But really, in hindsight, like the sidestep story was like, they really did crash, but they just didn't know it. Instead, they all died in that split reality instead, and they're just in purgatory in the side shoot. But
Is that
then
the fog thing or whatever is purgatory, or the hole or whatever? I remember hearing about purgatory at some point.
It's like it was like the side shoot story was like they don't know they're dead, but they're dead in purgatory, and then they figure it out, and then they all move on together.
Did they ever bump into Dean?
No.
Dang it.
They didn't run into Sam either. I was a little disappointed with that.
Sam, Dean, Sam, Dean.
Yeah. And so that side shoot is kind of like its own separate story, but then we have how Lost actually ended. And what was really cool is it a lot of that series finales I realized I liked because they do a lot of callbacks to that first episode.
Yeah.
And like, in that season they explained where those two bodies in the cave came from and where the rocks came from and like the white and the dark and like where the smoke monster and who Jacob was and who, and so like what I liked about it is it ended, a lot of it was like it ended where it began, kind of, instead of Jack dies and
Is he a generic brown hair guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's the main hero of the story, and it turns out that Hurley is going to be like, someone has to be the watcher of the island or something like that. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen it. But someone has to be the watcher of the island, and ends up being your stereotypical fat surfer stoner guy.
Hurley, the only character I know.
Yeah, Hurley. It ends up being him. And like, there were other things that I can't remember that I really liked about it, which sucks. I should have just watched it before I came. But like, I felt like they did a really good job at like wrapping up everything and just like, okay, there's really no questions left to answer.
See, that's the opposite of what I hear from everyone is
Really?
like that show ended and it didn't answer anything and it was just confusing is what I always heard.
I would have to have people ask me the questions and then go rewatch the show and be like, here's the answer. I feel like when I watch things, I get more out of it than most people do.
Especially with how invested you get into it too.
Yeah.
And a show that had that many millions of viewers, it's like you got to think of the amount of people that actually like follow the subtleties and things
and
like
then,
that.
you got motherfuckers that turn it on in their kitchen and then they go and fuck off and dick off on their phone and cook dinner and come back and
like, what happened?
What the fuck? This show sucks.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
It's like the same people that didn't like the Sopranos ending. They're like, I don't get it. Is he dead or not?
No, it cut to black with him and his family happily alive. I didn't even have to watch the show to know that was a happy fucking ending. Fools.
But the look that he gives at the end.
The look, it was just a who the fuck is that?
Right?
And then it's fine.
Maybe they got wet up.
Nah, they didn't. It was his daughter walking in.
I don't fucking know. I didn't watch The Sopranos. Fuck that show.
I didn't either, but.
So, my next choice is
what's yours?
This is my cheat.
You're cheating too? Okay.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. So, this is technically the end of a series, but it's in a movie form. You know what I'm saying?
Psych.
No.
Damn.
That wasn't a real movie.
I heard that was a good ending, though.
It was, and that was one that I considered. But since they made the Psych movie, that's why it bumped off my list.
Right.
Because that was just kind of like
it
was just kind of like an extended episode more than a movie. But I'm picking Serenity and Firefly. So the show gets canceled, and you don't actually get a
see. That's one of the shows that would be on the
100%. 100%.
Yeah, be on that list.
So I'm counting that as the series finale because it is a continuation. They do change things, which is weird. Like the Doctor is odd. I don't understand why he's like a badass now.
Yeah.
But just
and it's weird when I saw Serenity first because I didn't when I was a kid when the movie came out. I just watched it and was like, this was all right, I guess.
That's
and
how
then
Tom was too.
And then I watched the show, and then I watched Serenity, and then Serenity was that much better. Sorry,
it's
RDJ.
fall out your seat good. So like I didn't ever watch Serenity, and then Firefly was on Netflix like years ago, and so I watched that through, and I was like, that's it. And then I had my moment that everyone had when it got canceled, like, how could you cancel it?
Yeah.
And then,
like, how do you cancel a show that good?
And then after, like, I was looking through that's where people were like, Serenity. I was like, that's really, okay, well, I'll go watch that. And then I was like, it doesn't fill the void.
No.
But it gives you closure.
They fucking kill off, what's his name in it?
Wash, yeah. Yep. But you finally get the payoff of River.
Yeah.
Going full, like, just badass, chopping down the Reavers. And I did think about doing this as the last episode of the TV series, because that was pretty good too. But
yeah, it was
not as good as this, because that's the one with
that bounty hunter shows up.
Yeah, he's like gonna rape Kaylee.
I know he wore a lot of red.
Yeah,
and like
it's super creepy.
How do you not want to continue? How do you not see that episode as a network and go fuck it?
The network also put him out of order on TV, which makes no sense. Like, they were aired out of order. There was a bunch of chicanery and fuckery that happened that led to the cancellation. Anyways, the movie, I think, finally, you get the fulfillment of everything that you were wondering about those characters, minus Shepard. He doesn't really get a whole lot. He gets killed off pretty quickly. But you get Mal, and I can't remember her name, but the space prostitute. That's on the ship.
The Val?
Yeah.
Val, she was really...
You get the payoff on that.
Because they finally kind of get together, yeah.
Unfortunately, Wash does die. So, I mean,
him and his woman's relationship. Usually when there's a dual relationship and one of them dies, dude, my heart breaks.
Yeah,
hard.
no, that one was fucking rough. And you don't see it coming. It's just like...
It's just gone.
It's like, we did it, we got away, and then it pans over and Wash has this thing through him. It's like, because he was my favorite character. Like, Alan Tudyk is so good.
Yeah.
You get, like I said, River gets to finally go off. But more than anything, and it's the same thing with Sons of Anarchy, I felt completed. Like, there's definitely the option for more adventures in the universe, but at the same time, with Wash dying, with Shepard dying, with them completing this mission here, like, I felt the book close. Like, I don't need any more. I would love more, but I don't need any more.
Yeah.
So that's why that one made my list, and I technically classified that as movie finale, because I know there's certain other shows where it's like they had a movie spin-off, and but none of them were as effective as this one to me.
Okay.
What's your next pick?
Before we move super on, I do want to say that one more thing about Lost. My I know. My friend Jeff did say this. He did say, he goes, now if you watched Lost over the years like that ending sucked. And then he said he went back and watched and rewatched it. And he goes, when you watch it all in order like that, the ending's actually really good.
It's probably more fresh in your mind.
Yeah.
You remember more things.
Yeah. He said the ending was actually pretty darn good.
Yep.
Okay. But anyways, no, my next one. This is another unpopular opinion.
You're making me super nervous right now.
Very unpopular. It's 50-50. Probably more like 48 to 52.
Oh, MASH. Nice.
No, that was also a good one that I never watched. But dun 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 dun. Okay. So the reason why I think it's one of the best endings of all time for especially a show of that magnitude is this. Okay, for one, Bran, right? Now, actually, here, back to the whole story thing. In the first season, did we ever see any flashbacks in that show at all of anything, maybe for a split second? What were they always doing when they were trying to talk about things? Telling stories. They were always telling stories. Now, I will agree, Bran does not have the best story in the show.
The idea of telling stories is the biggest, I'm a writer and I'm going to jerk my own dick. That's the most important thing.
It was.
No.
How else would we have found out about the Mad King? We're going to throw money at flashbacks?
You know what? Next time there's a presidential election going on, I'm going to vote for who tells the best story, not who's the best leader.
Bran doesn't fucking tell stories.
He has the history of humanity. Who gives a fuck? It's written in the Maester books. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The reason why Bran is the best pick for the king is because he knows all the faults that man has made. Who better to know? Who better to make the better decisions than someone who knows all the fuck ups? And then, not to mention, Bran is kind of like roboted out from the whole three-eyed raven thing, right? So he doesn't really care about having that power. You remember when he was, and he doesn't even fucking hardly do anything, and they hint at that too. That's another thing that people missed, is that people didn't notice the little fucking things. Like
how he orchestrated the entire thing to put himself in the position of power because he's an evil little fuck.
Okay, for one, we don't know that. Okay, he never says it.
I think pretty much. He doesn't need to say it. It's called inferred knowledge, and I have inferred that knowledge.
Anyways, he's like. He goes, they show up when they're all sitting there. By the way, it was a very happy ending. Happiest ending to that show I could have ever even thought to begin to think of, okay? And you have to keep in mind that my expectations were subvertedly so low before this fucking episode began, because, unpopular opinion, I'd enjoyed what I had seen so far. There were only maybe one or two things that disappointed me, all right? Arya killing the Night King, okay?
Loved it, but that's
stupid as fuck. It was illogical, and it came out of nowhere, and it should have been Jon. That's my only problem with the show, and Jaime going back on his fucking arc. That was terrible writing, I'll admit. But you know what? At the end, it made fucking sense. Because the prophecy was fulfilled that he was supposed to fucking kill his sister and shit. Because if he'd never brought his sister down there, she'd have never fucking died. Anyway, now that being said,
no, she was supposed to be killed by a younger, prettier person. I believe
she was destined. The prophecy was that one of her brothers was supposed to kill her, and it was supposed to be her younger brother. And Jaime is 2 minutes younger than her. Anyways, so. Another thing I thought was really great is that it had a happy ending for basically everyone who didn't die. Like Brienne, she's like on the knight's table now. Fucking what's his dick is the hand again. Who is it? Bronn? Bronn's the fucking treasurer.
Dumbest choice. Homeboy didn't even know what
he was loyal. He was loyal to money, so you make the guy who's loyal to money in charge of the money.
No.
And it's not that hard to learn what a fucking bank is.
He was also willing to
And how do you know he doesn't know what a bank is?
Because there's a scene like 2 seasons before that when he's trying to explain to them why they had to pay money back to the bank, and he doesn't understand. He like literally says, I don't know how loans work.
You can fucking teach him.
Doesn't matter. That guy shouldn't be doing it. Also, he was literally going to kill Jaime and Tyrion like 2 episodes before that.
For what?
For money.
That's why you put him in charge of it!
No, just because you're greedy doesn't mean you should be... That's how we had the financial...
That's exactly why you fucking do it.
You know what happens? That's how you get the financial collapse that we had in 2008. Because these greedy fuckers running the banks were doing things that they knew couldn't be paid back.
Well... That's neither here nor there. And
that's
for one,
everywhere.
We don't know if Bronn is gonna even knows how to do that. Because he doesn't know what a fucking bank is. But he was taught. It's not that hard to teach somebody how to fucking run a bank. Anyways,
that was the worst fan service in the entire thing. That was worse than, as much as I love Arya, that was worse than Arya killing the Night King because Bran is a popular.
Arya didn't deserve to kill the Night King. She already got revenge for Winterfell. Fuck off. Fuck her.
I'm just saying, I was totally happy with it. I just didn't
Jon
necessarily
Snow
like
needed to kill that motherfucker.
I wish he would have.
Jon Snow needed to do it.
I wish he would have whited out.
Jon Snow. She's my queen.
Yeah, let's talk. Yeah, fucking whole season.
Now, anyways, so everyone's happy ending, right? I thought it was really neat how it was. Yeah, I thought it was dumb that they sent him off to the wall, but then there's that little moment when he's walking off into the woods with
he's happy. Yeah,
and he's happy, and this is another thing that people seem to have missed. When he looks back at the wall, that's a fuck this place look. I'm not coming back. You can tell, and he gets reunited with Ghost, and then I thought Arya's ending was pretty interesting too. That she's gonna go off and explore new worlds, and another thing, Sansa being the leader of Winterfell, perfect. And you know who she runs the north, and then Bran is running the south. The fucking Starks won. and they were the ones getting fucked from the very get-go, and now they're on, like, the top of the top. And you know what? Jon's probably running shit across the fucking wall, too.
Bran's not a Stark anymore, though.
Bran is a Stark.
He's a three-eyed raven.
He's a fucking Stark. No. He's got Stark blood in his veins.
Right, but in mentally, he's no longer a Stark.
Yeah, but then that's another thing. He doesn't care about ruling. Because they were like, he was letting them go. But when he's like, they were like, where's Drogo at? Where's the dragon?
He does.
And he's like, I'll find him.
He does care about it. He wants to be the king. He's evil as fuck, and he wants to be the king. He put all these things into motion in the last season.
How?
And then played dumb. First of all, there's so many things that he does where he hints that he knows the happenings that it did happen and what's going to happen.
He says numerous times to several characters, and this is why I kind of fell in love with Bran again by the end of the show, is that anytime someone was like apologizing to him or saying this or something, he fucking reassured them and let them know that this is exactly where you're supposed to be.
To get him to be the king.
Because he knew that was the best way for it to end.
No, that's how he wanted it to end.
He was the best choice.
No, he wasn't.
He is.
He's not.
Jon didn't fucking want it. Daenerys went fucking crazy. Who else is there that's like fucking Tyrion? Tyrion's made a lot of dumb decisions up to this point.
He lost his ability to choose a long time ago. Varys would have been a good choice.
He got fucking cooked because Daenerys went crazy and he betrayed Daenerys.
Right. Yeah, but he was right.
And that he was very much right. I loved Varys, and that was a shitty death for him. I loved him.
Why don't they just put Bronn as king?
Because he'd be a shitty choice, unlike Bran.
How is Jon not the better choice for king?
Jon doesn't want it.
Neither does Bran, apparently. That's what I'm saying. If it's all about who doesn't want to rule, then why is it not Jon?
Bran did want to rule. He goes, why do you think I came all
That's
this way?
That's what I'm saying. You're saying he's good because he doesn't want to rule.
You know what? He was keeping everything. He
put it all into motion.
Decision.
He was the one that was like planting the seeds of Jon's a Targaryen. He didn't help that situation at all, and it helped push Dany into insanity, even though she had many other very valid reasons to go crazy.
That's another thing, is that people for some reason didn't see this coming.
Yeah, she's been burning people left and right all these seasons.
Yeah, and that was one of my biggest things, is like, how did you not see her going crazy coming like 4 fucking seasons ago?
I think the issue was with how quick it happened, but it absolutely was going to happen.
Like there was just no other way around.
And with how many people were fucking her over and not being happy that she came and saved their asses. Yeah. Like, fuck that.
And well, another thing too is like, you know, she's super worshipped over there across that narrow sea, and then she comes over here and everyone's like,
why is Arya not trust her? Like, Arya should be just gushing in her pants over this. She loves dragons. She loves Targaryens. She loves being a killer. Like, that should be her girl. I get Sansa not like her, but Arya should love her.
Because I think Arya has kind of like the sixth sense, because she's been trained so well. So I feel like she can kind of, you know.
Yeah, but who gives a shit? She should love that she's a killer, because that's what Arya is.
I don't think Arya necessarily, but Arya kills for the right reasons. Okay, Arya doesn't get on a dragon and burn King's Landing to the ground just because fuck you.
She should, though. My next pick is Breaking Bad.
See, I thought about Breaking Bad, and I was like, it's just one of those endings that's not a bad ending. I don't think it's bad. Mm-hmm. I just didn't think it was that spectacular.
So what I ended up putting it on this list for, like, what I justify it with is almost the entire season, the final season leading to it, and how gripping it was. Like, that was
so good.
The last show other than Game of Thrones that I was watching week to week. Mm-hmm. And so, like, the tension, especially when they're out in the desert with Hank.
Yeah, that was
And it's
crazy.
like an anxiety attack, because Hank was my favorite character, and I'm just like, oh, fuck.
I actually had not seen Hank's death, because I went for I can't remember how it happened, but I bought the season finale on DVD, or season last season on DVD, right? Because that's my thing. And that's how I have access to shows like that, is I have to go buy it on DVD on Black Friday, you know. I totally missed the episode Ozymandias. Completely. Did I tell you about that? Mm-mm. It's okay. Okay, so, like, it goes from, like, that episode in for me, this is how it went, because I missed that episode. It goes from them being in the episode in the desert where that shootout ends to cut to Walter's at the dry cleaners with fucking Better Call Saul. There's a whole episode I missed where we watch Hank die. Walter and Skyler get into the fight in that house. There's a couple other things that can't happen because I've only seen that episode one time. I did not know I missed that episode till like you told me, like, oh, Hank dies. Yeah, you see it. And everyone was like, what the fuck? And I even went back on my DVDs, like, play. And then I stuck in the other disc and I'm like, it's not fucking here. It's like they didn't put it on there. And then I went, like, a few years ago, or a few months ago, maybe a year ago, I was like, I'm going to fucking try it again because it's got to be on there.
Yeah, they can't just skip a whole episode.
Yeah, right. They're just not going to, like, forget an episode to put on there for DVD. And I even Googled it, and, like, no one said anything about it. And I'm like, okay, I go into the episode selection. There were 4 episodes on that disc instead of just 3. Because they did, like, 3, 3, and then 2. Mm-hmm. But they went 4, 3, and then 3. Yeah. Or no, not 4, 3, and 3. Sorry. They went 4, 3, then 1, then special features.
Weird.
Yeah. And so I missed Ozymandias. And I was like, and I watched it, and I was like, this is the best fucking episode in the show. Know, right? I'm so pissed.
It's ridiculous. Like, it's just, the whole thing is just intense.
Yeah. I was so pissed off. I was like, I missed this fucking episode for years. Damn it. It was good.
See, the only thing that makes me nervous about this, though, is the movie's coming, right?
There's a movie?
Yeah. They've confirmed, like, months ago that there's a Breaking Bad movie in the work that will follow up this season. And it is confirmed that Jesse and Walter will be in it now. It doesn't say whether these is going to involve flashbacks or not.
Because I'd heard Better Call Saul will eventually have them too.
Right. And that was a show that I started but didn't really get into, but it was good.
It's good, but I don't see myself...
It's such a hard act to follow. Like,
yeah.
Same with, like, The Mayans or potentially the Game of Thrones prequel. Like, when you're comparing it to what you've already invested all that time into... or The Hobbit versus The Lord of the Rings. It's like,
yeah, there's no way.
It's like you're in the same world, and I like the world, but it's not the story that I want.
Yeah.
What's your next pick?
Ah, yes. This is a very unpopular show. It's definitely one of my most underrated. It's like one of those shows that's like super underrated. Black Sails.
Yeah,
dude. Okay, I'll admit to our millions of viewers out there. No, not even close, dude.
Black Sails.
Yeah. More like. Dude, the theme song. I'll have to show you the theme song.
Black Sails.
Not quite. I'll have to show it to you later. So, to our millions. The first season is a bit of a trudge to get through. Those first 8 episodes, some shows are like that. The first season's kind of...
You set the entire world up in one season. It's a lot of exposition, a lot of taking in kind of who the characters are and where you're at. Yep.
And then season 2, instantly incredible. Instantly amazing. From start to finish. Season 3, okay, really good. But season 4, really fucking good. Like, this is where... This is war finally happens. I noticed like a lot of the shows I was watching all simultaneously were getting to like a this is war. They were all getting to war. It was weird. But anyway.
Any of them use 30 Seconds to Mars?
Yeah.
Nice. This is the one you were telling me about with the guy with the limp or whatever, the captain. He said there was one scene where this guy comes down like with a limp and he just gives
he's got a peg leg.
Yeah.
And he comes up on this character from earlier in the show that's kind of a bitch. And like John Silver himself was was kind of a cowardly person in the beginning of the show. And he fucking knocks him on the ground with a beer mug. And then he fucking stomps his face in with his peg leg. Mm. And like when you look at John Silver in season 1, you cannot see him ever doing that. And I should also mention that this show acted as a prequel to Treasure Island, the book.
That's weird.
Yeah.
So does he take the Walter White arc then, where he starts out kind of like innocent and good? And then
it like they kind of allure to that. Like Captain Flint is like the main badass captain that everybody fears, but it allures to that John Silver will overshadow him and overtake that kind of thing. Even though that John Silver is still predominantly good. Mm-hmm. By the end of the show, but in Treasure Island, I keep thinking Treasure Planet, the cartoon movie.
Oh, it's such a good movie.
So good.
Underrated.
agreed. But like the way it ends, like, it's just so good. It ends at such a good spot. Like, they make you think that this has been this way for so long, and then it turns out it's really not this way for so long, and then it ends up being a pretty happy ending for my favorite character. And like the way that everything ends for everybody is like, if you go legit, how they made that show was, if you finish that episode and then grab the book and start reading it, it'll pick right up where you left off. And I think that's what's so good about it. I haven't read the book.
It's a unique ending, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's very like different. Like, you can tell that these characters have another journey ahead of them, but this story that they were involved with is done. And I think that's why I liked it so much, is that it was done so well. And if I really wanted to see what was going to happen to those guys, I'd go read the book.
And that seems to be a continuing theme of across our choices, that these are all finales that have a sense of finality to them. Like, I don't think a lot on this list has been like, oh man, wonder what happens next. We'll never know. It's like they're very like, boom, done.
Yep. Yeah,
that makes sense.
The story is over. There might be another story after, but
this particular one
is come to a complete close.
Correct. Which is interesting, because my next one.
Yeah, what is your next one?
Is technically a show that was canceled, but this is acting as the finale since it was canceled, and I think it works just as well, and that's Daredevil.
I haven't seen that season finale.
Yeah. So season 1 is all
amazing.
Him and versus Kingpin, right?
Amazing.
Season 2 is him and Punisher.
It's okay, subpar.
I liked it. I like season 1 better, but season 2 is good. Season 3, Kingpin is now kind of working with, I believe, the FBI, and like he's almost like an informant type deal. They've got him under protective custody, and he's like in this penthouse or whatever, and he's still pulling strings from the penthouse, and the whole time Daredevil's like, no, can't fucking let this go on, right?
Yep.
And so
don't try not to ruin it for me if it's possible.
Basically, things go
down.
Yeah. Twists and turns. This guy finds out he's being played. This person's been a shitty person the whole time.
Okay.
Characters from the other shows and previous seasons obviously play their parts, and you get a couple new people in there, and it's all whatever. And I feel like it's not a spoiler saying that Daredevil wins, because it's a fucking comic book, right?
Yeah, of course
he's always gonna win, but it's the way that he ends up beating him, because there's constantly the duality of, do I beat Kingpin as Matt Murdock, or do I beat him as Daredevil?
Yeah,
right. Like, do I take it into my hands, or do I let the system do the job? And then now that is more of an issue, because
the system already failed him once.
Exactly, and he's like, you know what? Fuck the system. This has to be Daredevil. Yes. And so he's like breaking laws, and he's telling like Foggy and Karen like, it's not gonna work, and they're like, Matt, we can't lose you like this. Like, and there's a big story arc about whether or not Daredevil will kill in the comic books, and they kind of like start homaging some of that stuff. So as a big comic book fan, I'm like, let's do this.
Please let him kill people. I love it. I love when heroes kill people.
It gets to the end, the big like final standoff. And then, like I said, obviously Daredevil wins. Yeah. But there's one of the lasting images you see is Daredevil shouting in Kingpin's face, like just losing his mind, like, I beat you. Really? Like, he's going off, and he like, it's incredible. And with that being kind of the last thing you'll ever see of the Daredevil show, I was like, you know what? Not a bad ending.
Right. Okay.
Totally fine. Like, with it getting canceled.
Does he wear the Daredevil outfit, or does he go back to
He goes back to the Man Without Fear.
Damn it!
No.
Why?
No, it's so good, though, because, like, he's shredding away the remnants of what people think Daredevil as. Also, Bullseye's in this.
I heard, yeah. I did.
He wears the Daredevil costume because they're trying to frame Daredevil. Oh, that's why he goes back to the Man Without Fear.
Okay.
It's good.
Because I saw I've seen the first episode where Bullseye breaks him out, and he's a really good shot, and he never seems to miss.
Yep. Yeah. About halfway through, he ends up. Fisk gets the guy that makes the suit for Daredevil to make one for Bullseye so they can frame Daredevil.
Okay.
And so that's a big thing, is he's on the run, and that's why he goes back to the Man Without Fear.
Right.
And I like that too, because that strips away the armor of the Daredevil suit.
Yeah.
He's back to like wearing the sweater and got the taped up hands, and it's like, this is just one man and his his perseverance and fortitude versus the system. And I was like,
Right.
fuck yes. If they had got canceled after season 2, I'd have been like, oh, God, that kind of sucks, because it's like the whole thing with the hand and Elektra and whatever, and it's just not super satisfying. But
no, the hand, and I'm speaking of disappointing, the Defenders.
Yeah. Yep. That'll be on an episode at some point.
Yeah.
What's your number one? It's been a while since we referenced Stephen Larson.
Yeah. This is another I would assume it's a popular show, but it's a CW show.
Supernatural hasn't ended yet.
No, it hasn't. But back when the CW was pretty good.
Arrow's over.
Yeah, and it's not good since season 3.
Man, Dawson's Creek, though, I tell you what. I'm just going to keep naming CW shows until I figure out which one you're
talking about. One Tree Hill. Dawson's Creek wasn't on CW.
I don't. They're all,
actually, I'm just kidding. I don't fucking know.
They're all the same.
90210. What's the one? There's another one I'm thinking of that's actually the OC.
The OCL, yeah.
That was a great show.
Oh, I see. What was your actual pick?
Okay.
Now that everyone
Vampire Diaries.
No.
Yeah, see, it was. If you'd watch this show is so fucking good, and I don't know why.
Is that
but
the one?
It is.
Is this the one with Sookie? Or is that a different one?
No.
Anna Paquin. What's that one? That's True Blood.
Yeah.
No,
True Blood's
what
awful.
you said.
I said Vampire Diaries.
True Blood
is awful.
No, True Blood's good because you see your titties.
No. That's and Deborah Ann Wall's titties too.
I don't know who that is. Go ahead with your
Karen
thing.
from Daredevil.
You're a vampire. Oh, fuck Karen. She's a cunt. I hate her.
You only hate her in the comics.
Well, yeah, but it's made me hate her so much that she's in the extended version of the Daredevil movie, and I never noticed it because I didn't watch the extended version until recently, and fuck her there too.
Okay.
So go on with your.
So the reason why I think
vampire show.
Vampire. Did you say true vampire show?
Sure.
So the reason why I think Vampire Diaries ended so well is, for one, it made me fucking cry.
Vamp D's.
I cried. The only time I cried during a season finale was during Dexter, and that was because it was so fucking bad. You fucking killed Deborah off screen. Are you kidding me? Fuck you people. Fuck you people. You don't know how to write television, clearly. No, the reason why it ended so well is because there were things that characters wanted, kind of for the whole show. And, you think they're never going to get it, and then at the end they get it. And it's very bittersweet, too, because this one character who's been a vampire the whole time gets turned into a human. And he gets shot. And, there's this... For some reason, I can't remember why, but they kind of had to do a thing where, someone has to sacrifice themselves. And Damon... There's two brothers, right? And Damon's like, I'm going to do it. I'm a vampire. I want to... I kind of... He just desert... he just felt like it was him. And then Stefan takes this thing from him... And Stefan's human now, and he jumps into the fire, and it was, and he gives Damon the vampiric cure, and because Damon wanted to be human and live a human life, so, the only thing that didn't happen was Caroline and Stefan being together, which I really wanted, and they were together, but Stefan dies.
I've heard about Caroline before.
I love Caroline.
She's the reason for the word bitch. It's an Outcast reference.
Yeah,
I just wanted to make it. I couldn't help it.
But
she's reason for the word bitch. Go ahead.
But
back to your True Blood vampire show thing.
But so
this is your number one?
Yeah.
CW vampire show?
Yeah, dude.
God.
It made me fucking cry. Not once, but twice.
Were you just going through some other things in life at the
time?
No.
It was just so well done, dude. I'm not even fucking kidding you. It was just so well done. There was no stone. How with these other shows, they kind of left stones to unturned? Mm-hmm. There was no fucking stone left unturned. There's zero possibility of continuing the show on. Everyone got everything that they deserved besides Stefan and Caroline. They didn't get to be together. He died. But... Caroline, she goes off to run a school with witches and vampires and werewolves and vampire, shit like that. And her and Alaric go off together and run a school together, which was really cool. And they continue that story, but more with Alaric than Caroline in this really terrible looking show called Legacies. I'm not even gonna fuck with that.
Is this also tied in with the originals?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's another thing is that the original characters, I should just make you watch where they come into play because you would fucking like them. They're awesome. They're good. Elijah and Klaus.
I think I just have a real stickler, or not. That's not the proper word. I have just a dislike other than Supernatural of the CW style of making shows.
I understand that, but Vampire Diaries stands out from those.
I've seen a couple episodes, and I would disagree.
What episodes have you seen?
I remember something to do with a girl that was a cheerleader at a basketball game, which I thought was weird. The first time I was ever introduced to Vampire Diaries, I thought it was Supernatural, and I watched the episode and was very mad to find out it was not Supernatural, because I went over to this girl's house, right? And it's like she's got it on TV, and like we go in a room and it's on the TV, and I'm like, hey, what's going on here? And she's like, I'll be back in a second. And then like it's this like taller dude wearing a flannel, right? And he's got kind of like longish brown hair, and he's like drinking blood. I'm like, shit, Sam's back on the demon blood, because I think it's Sam. And so the whole show like keeps going, and then there's all these other characters that I don't recognize, and this is when I had kind of fallen out of Supernatural for a while. And I thought this was just like a recent episode on TV. I was like, man, I don't know who any of these characters are. And then it ends, and I was like, what? Because I thought she had been watching Supernatural. I'm like, what's the deal with going on with Supernatural? She's like, I don't know, I don't watch that show. I was like, what the fuck were you just watching? She's like, I was Vampire Diaries.
Oh.
And at that point, I was like, oh my god.
Did it interest you at all what you were seeing?
No, I was like, why? I knew because this is way after Leviathan.
Because you thought you were too busy thinking it was fucking Supernatural. That's why.
Well, no, that is regardless. Because I was like, at first it piqued my interest because like Sam's back on the demon blood. This could be good. Mm-hmm. But then I watched the rest of the show, and I think that's where I saw the girl with the basketball cheerleader or whatever on the bus, and I was like, why is this so like?
See, what you're talking about doesn't even sound fucking familiar to me.
Why are we not going back to Sam with the demon blood? Because this is dog shit.
Oh, you might have been watching. Okay, would it have something to do with them being locked in this weird alternate reality?
Maybe, I don't remember.
Yeah, because there's a part where they get sucked into this alternate reality. Two characters do. And it's the same day every day. It's like in 94. It's that they relive that same day every day. And come to find out it's a prison for another being that's in there and stuff. It's really good, Kirk. I'll admit the 5th season gets like... But then other than that, it's quite phenomenal. It's very good.
I just don't like vampires.
You'll like these ones. They burst into flames.
Well, I mean, that's cool, but I just don't... I don't like the whole like soap opera drama vampire thing. Like, I don't know. I want to see vampires be monsters and get staked. Like, I don't give a fuck about their love relationships. I don't give a fuck about any of that. I just want to see him. I want like the Nosferatu vampire, like the ugly beast that's like draining the blood of people in the town, and then the guy's got to kill him.
That in it, but there is.
That's what I'm saying. There
is a main villain that shows up, and he is super fucking badass.
Does he die in the final season?
No, that's where he's an original. He was such a good villain, they were able to do a show from him. He wins. He shows up and wins, essentially. Several times, he shows up and wins. And he's a super dick the whole time, and he's great. I love him. His name's Klaus.
He'd probably be the only person I would like then.
You would love him. I'm telling you, watch seasons 2 and 3, and then that's it. You're good.
It's just never gonna happen.
It's only 44 episodes.
Not gonna invest that.
44 episodes.
That's like 44 hours.
No, it's not. It's more like 30.
It's too many.
So what was your number 1?
The Office. Speaking about crying at finales, I tell you what. So, this is also debatably a show that went too long.
I was gonna say, didn't it go down the crapper at some point?
The general consensus is that after Michael leaves the show, Steve Carell leaves the show, there's a season, I think 1 or 2 seasons after that, and the quality dipped. But I would disagree with that. Well, I have to. I'm sure
it didn't increase.
Correct. I wouldn't say that it dipped near as much as people would have you believe.
Okay.
Because there are still episodes in there that are hilarious. Mm-hmm. And I think the problem is kind of like the rose-tinted glasses. People are looking back at like the 7 seasons before it.
Yeah.
And there's so many iconic episodes through there that they think all those episodes were amazing. But there are ups and downs through every season. Like, there are certain episodes that are okay, and then there's ones that are like iconic as fuck.
Yeah. And to be honest, when I've seen like half watched kind of up to like season 3 of The Office, I just farted. I almost can't stand Michael sometimes.
He's very cringe-inducing.
Yeah, he's a racist, fucking biggest,
yeah.
fucking fascist asshole.
Well, see, that's part of why it's such a good show, especially the first season. He's at his absolute worst with the greasy hair and everything.
Yeah, he's so hard to watch.
As the seasons go on, the characters intertwine more and more, and you start seeing more of the heart of that character, and you understand that he does have a lot of these bad qualities, but they come from a place of ignorance or innocence for the most part.
Okay.
And he does, like, he will just be a flawed human a lot of times and, like, be self-centered and, like, but by the end of the episode or the end of the arc, like, he's come around and he's realized that he's being a dick about it. Especially there's Christmas episode that's really notorious for that, where he wants to be the secret Santa, or he wants to be the Santa, but then someone else wants to be the Santa, but he's always the Santa. And then since he's not the Santa, he gets outvoted. He throws a hissy fit and, like, ruining everything about the party, and they're supposed to have the secret Santa gift, and he's, like, gets mad about the gift he gets because he gives Ryan, who's got a man crush on, BJ Novak.
Why does he have a fucking man crush on him?
They don't really explain it. He just likes him. He wants him to be friends. He thinks he's cool. He gets him an iPod, right?
Yeah, it was like I remember that.
Someone gets him like an oven mitt or something,
and he fucking wanted to trade.
And it's supposed to be like a $5 maximum gift or whatever. And he's like, I got him an iPod, and you get me an oven mitt. An oven mitt.
Yeah,
and he, like, storms off. And there's
Phyllis cries, if I remember right.
Yeah, she does. He's a real piece of shit. And then while they're out, because I think Dwight or someone goes with him, then they bring back these 2 Asian waitresses, and he can't tell them apart, so he marks one with a Sharpie. So back to him being a bigot and kind of a racist. But it's funny.
That's funny.
It's funny because the show at no point makes you think that it's okay with what he's doing. There's always a character that's like
it's a draw with him.
Correct.
Yeah.
Or like the episode where they play the game where they have the card over their head and it's supposed to be like sensitivity training and it's supposed to be an ethnicity. And then Pam's like, I don't agree with this stereotype, but some people would say that you're not the best driver. And he's like, oh, am I a woman? And it says Asian or whatever.
Oh.
Anyways, so the finale.
Damn.
Michael comes back to the finale. The very final episode. He's been gone for a season or 2 at this point. And he gets married to Holly and they move away to Colorado. I believe there's another wedding is why he's coming back. Actually, for whatever reason right now, I can't remember why he comes back. But there's a big gathering and everyone's there and he shows up. And the whole time, like throughout all the series, it's just about how Michael hates being alone. And that's why he keeps getting into bad relationships with like Jan and all these other people. And he finally finds Holly, who is actually the good match for him. And he's talking about how he wants all these kids or whatever. And he ends up having kids with Holly. And so it's him, I think either Pam or Jim or something, and he's showing him his phone, and then he pulls out another phone because he got 2 phones because he filled up the amount of pictures he can of his kids on one phone, so he had to get a second phone to take more pictures of them. And it's like you finally see that Michael is like living the happiest life he possibly can, and I was like, yes, thank you, because at this point he's also like all his bad tendencies have kind of filtered away over the seasons.
Right,
he's become a good person, and he's finally got what he wanted. And I was just so fucking happy for him that I was like, I don't think I'll ever see a finale where I can be happier for a character than I will for how happy I was for Michael Scott, for how much of a shitbag he was to how good of a person he became and finally got what he wanted. Because a lot of his shitbaggery came from him being unfulfilled with what's going on in his life and where he's at and where he thought he would be. And it was just so satisfying to see that finally happen. I teared up at that one a bit.
Did you?
No cry, though.
I definitely cried during Vampire Diaries. Like, ugly cried.
You know what? Actually, though, now that I'm thinking about it, the very best season finale is the end of this episode.
Is it? But is it, though?
Just ask our millions and millions of viewers. So yeah, another one where we had zero same picks.
Yeah, which I feel like that's gonna happen a lot and happen not a lot.
Well, I mean, our first 3 episodes, like we had a lot of them. Yeah, but I think the more we do TV shows, and
there's gonna be some dividing there.
Yeah, 100%. So I have been Kirk, and this is Sawyer. That was our list of top 5 finales. most controversial list probably that we've ever had.
Yeah, it will be probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially mine. Everyone's going to be like, what the fuck, Vampire? He's gay.
I'm going to be very upset when everyone in the comments is like, I agree with everything he said.
Yeah.
And I'm the asshole.
Yeah, right. Wow, Kirk shouldn't have freaked out on a story like that. That was
Game of Thrones was great. So thanks for sticking around, and we'll see you on the next episode where we will discuss another top 5
of something.
Yeah. Thanks.
Kirk.
But, like, how? It was so bad. It was awful. It was dog shit. It was crazy. It was like, I don't understand. I can't even put this on right now. I'm so upset right now. Like, who's the king?
Bran.
How is that? Because he's got a good story. A story. Like, no, that's fucking bullshit. Jon gets sent back past the wall because he kills Dany, and Grey Worm's like mad about it. He's like, he killed my queen, and I didn't kill him for some reason, even though I was just murking people in the street for my queen. And the Dothraki are supposed to also kill anyone that kills their leader, but they're all just like, nah, we're just gonna go fuck off now. And then so they're like, all right, well, we can't kill Jon, but we're gonna send him away so that Grey Worm feels better. But then Grey Worm goes away, and none of them are like, hey, Jon, I mean, he's gone. You can just stay if you want. Also, you're technically the heir to the throne, so you should get it. But also, you got Gendry, who's kind of the heir to the throne, so he could get it. But he doesn't talk to ravens or whatever, and he doesn't have the best story, even though Bran's story can suck my fucking dick. Like, how about we talk about Gendry, who was the iron worker in the slummy part of the city, who has now saved the day and found he was an heir to the throne. Or Jon, who was a bastard that turned out he was also secretly the heir. And he brought all these people together and led the Night Watch, died and came back because the God of Light wanted it to be so. I feel better.
Good. Did you get that out?